Hey Jesse, we're going live.
Hi, Dean. How you doing? It's good to see you again, Dean. Hi, guys. Sit down.
And I've been telling um, Dan and Angela, right? I told today, I told Rick, I've been telling Rick for a long time that what the Jehovah's Witnesses are doing, and it started with the time card lately, the new thing, is they're trying to get from point A to Z, but it's too big of a jump. So they have the first one was the time card. And the beautiful thing about the time card is they got rid of 70% of their dead weight because elders and ministerial servants, nobody has to report time anymore, which you no longer work for Watchtower. You're no longer associated with them. So legally, it's a brilliant move legally. So if somebody's child molesting, you're like, hey, he doesn't report time to us. He doesn't clock in. So yeah, legally, that's a great thing. So they have to, okay, what's B? What's C? What's D? So kind of like, they have to keep making all of these different changes so they can finally get to their end goal. And their end goal is to win the favor of the New World Order. And one thing that the New World likes, and this is Watchtower's dilemma, and this is the title, breaking. Watchtower changes its immigration policy for elders, ministerial servants, and pioneers. And you know everybody. Gilbert, do you have proof? I want to see this. No, it's a prediction, and I'm making that prediction because Watchtower has to include the elders, ministerial servants, pioneers into their arrangement in order to be in good graces with the United Nations. The problem is that in the United States, Watchtower has a problem. It's like you and I were talking. It's called the law, and immigration is illegal, and how's Watchtower going to go over that hurdle of not cooperating and working with Caesar? However, this thing of being a minister, this thing of being a teacher is not given to us by a government. It is given to us by Jehovah. So they got to make that leap. I don't think they're going to make that the illegal. They're not. Although they could use that, Jesse, for the illegal alien, they could use that biblical precedent, that we obey God as ruler, that we don't need permission. Like we don't need permission of the state to get married. If a man and a woman, if a man gets a stick and he boom boom beats a woman and takes her to the cave, woman, mine, caveman. Hey, they're married. We don't need a paper. But what I'm saying is we do things because we're an orderly society. But what I'm saying is Watchtower can make that argument that, hey, we don't need your permission to have an elder have a special certificate or a card, a passport. See, so I can see Watchtower going down this road. Either way, the point I'm trying to make is I'm predicting that in the changes, we're already seeing letter D, letter E, letter F with the changes of the beards, and also now they're talking about changing the blood policy and others. And I believe this change of elders, ministerial servants is going to be one of many arrangements that's going to get us to letter Z. And we'll talk about letter Z a little bit later. But go ahead. Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm wrong?
No, it makes sense. But I don't think it's going to be the change that you're predicting. It could be very stealth. Now, the beards is white out. I mean, it's visible for everybody. For example, nobody in the congregation knows who's an illegal alien. Nobody. Mm-hmm. The only people that know who's an illegal alien is the secretary, a few of the elders, the Kobe, and the illegal aliens. The illegal aliens all know who are illegal aliens. They all know. For example, if you give an illegal alien a mic running privilege, every illegal alien is going to be beating at the door of the secretary
Mhm.
because there's favoritism, and you can't do it. They can't do it. So if what you're saying is going to happen, it's going to happen in an elder letter that's not going to be read to the congregation. It's going to be done very stealth. This is not something that's going to be out in the public. I don't see it, because there's an immigration policy. There's immigration letters. There's using of undocumented brothers in certain very small capacities. Like, I think they could clean bathrooms at the assembly, at the convention. Yeah. I mean, there's things like that. So I think this is going to be done very stealth. So all of a sudden, you'll be seeing illegal alien brothers serving in privileges, but you're not going to see a letter. I don't think you're going to see a letter saying that to the congregation. It's going to be done very top secret.
You think? Well, we'll get into this right now, but Eric in screens, and I was telling Rick Farron, well, if you go to the Kingdom Hall, you're going to find that the Kingdom Hall is packed, but it's packed with the Spanish congregation. Well, in Phoenix, Arizona, that is, and in Yuma as well. Who's out there preaching? Spanish congregations. But also, I told Rick, look at the Black brothers. If you're Black, you got to look at the 1950s in the Polo Grounds in Yankee Stadium. They thought you were a Black religion, the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, the Blacks that are coming into the Kingdom Hall are not your African American, normal African American person. This guy's coming from the Sudan. He's coming from, Guyana. He's coming from, the Dominican Republic. And they're coming into the Spanish congregations or other, maybe English. So you're being replaced. And here's the other thing. Eric mentioned, and it's true, in the English congregations, a lot of elders are leaving. Well, who's replacing the English elders in the English congregations? Elders from the Spanish. So you have your first, second generation Jehovah's Witnesses who are also first, second generation Americans. Maybe their parents were born in Mexico, they were born in the United States, they stayed in the Spanish, but their kids speak English. So now we see that all the time, where Spanish brothers are are taking over the English congregations, but they're still American. But what I'm predicting is that these immigrants that are coming, they're going to take over the Spanish congregations, and they'll eventually take over your English congregation too. And as more and more Jehovah's Witnesses leave, who's going to fill that void? Now, why are people leaving the Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, because they know about Menlo Park. They know about the Australian Royal Commission. They also know, Jesse, that we have a thing called freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly. They know basic American rights because they're Americans. So American Jehovah's Witnesses know basic American rights, and they leave. Well, these people that are coming in, they're not your average American Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not talking about other countries. I'm only specifically talking about the United States. Europe has its problems, and so. But what do you think, Jesse? Because you've been talking to me a lot about replacement migration and how we're seeing it happening within our very, we're seeing it happening right before our eyes.
Gilbert, one of the things I have to agree with you. We're just talking about the United States, and let all your viewers understand this. I don't care about other countries. You could go ahead and go be globalist. The United States is all that counts. This is it. If we lose freedom here, there's nowhere else left to run. Would you say that when Homer Simpson became a Jew, what did he do?
No, not Homer Simpson. It was Peter Griffin. He became a Jew, and he goes, "We're number one."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We're American. We're number one. So it doesn't matter what Mexicans think. It doesn't matter what Russians think or Chinese. We're just concerned about what's happening here in America, the numbers. Now, we don't have any empirical evidence. We don't have any research. This is just what we're seeing here in Arizona. What we're seeing on the ground. For example, I lived in my hometown
celebrate the Sabbath.
Okay, here. I'm sorry, Jesse.
This is where we'll celebrate the Sabbath.
That this is all unnecessary. Our life was fine the way it was.
Check it out. I'm one of you guys now, huh? I'm Jewish. Yeah, Holocaust. We're number one. Look at all
Holocaust. We're number one. We're number
So
one.
we're talking about America. So it doesn't matter what everybody else. It only happen. What happens here is going to affect the whole planet. And what we're seeing is migration replacement. You got to, for example, there's theories that the Aztecs didn't build the pyramids, that the Incas didn't build Machu Picchu, that the megaliths weren't built with stone cutters, with rock. There's people who say, look at South Africa. It's been replaced.
Mm-hmm.
If you went South Africa 20, 30 years ago, go today now. It's a whole different place.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole, if you're a white farmer, it doesn't look, you should get out of there. That's what we're seeing happening here. And you got to have the courage to understand the Black Jehovah's Witness, the African-American Jehovah's Witness, which has a strong influence. Michael Jackson comes from there. His mom comes from there. You're being replaced. Mammy Eisenhower, the white Americans, you're being replaced. If you're not dying, you're being replaced. And this is what you're being replaced by third world people. I'm not saying from Mexico, but from all over the world, all over Latin America, Venezuela, the Spanish-speaking countries, the Portuguese-speaking countries like Brazil, the West African countries, or the oceanic countries from Oceania, from the Western Indies.
Mm-hmm.
They're all coming this way, and they're replacing you. So if you look at the population, everybody's saying, well, the Jehovah's Witnesses are leaving in droves. But just talking by population, the Jehovah's Witnesses had 1 or 2% growth this year. How is that possible? What's happening is the old Jehovah's Witnesses are leaving. The white Jehovah's Witnesses are leaving. The Black Jehovah's Witnesses are leaving. Their children,
the second generation Mexicans are leaving, yeah.
The second generation Mexican Americans are leaving. But the immigrants that are coming to this country, so let's say in the last 4 years, there's been 20 million undocumented immigrants coming to the United States seeking asylum. 20 million. And let's just say 1%. Let's just say 1%.
200,000.
Okay. Let's say half of 1%, 0.5.
That's 100. But what if they're married and what if they have kids?
What if they're
and then what if they have
publishers? Yeah. That's where the numbers are. I don't have no evidence. I don't have no research. So Jane Doe could come and kill me. Mike could come kill me and say, do your research. I don't have no research. I'm confessing. What I see on the ground. Look, I lived in this town 1968. The other day, we had Jehovah's Witness, 2 vans parked on the street where I live. I left in 2013. So from about 1970, when you were born, till about 2013. So we know every Jehovah's Witness in town, white, black, Mexican. The 2 vanfuls that were working on my street, I looked real carefully, looked in the eye. They were looking at me nervously. I didn't recognize nobody. Nobody. They're all Mexican. Well, I don't know if they're Mexican, but they're all Latin descent. They're not from around here. And you must not have a big industrial town where people come for jobs. What are they doing here? Well, they're immigrants. Now, either they're asylum seekers or they're legal immigrants or not legal immigrants. But the congregation is being replaced.
Mm-hmm.
This has been going on for a long time. When we were kids, there was 3 English congregations and Welton 4.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are probably 2 and about 6 Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
In the
now
county.
check this. You live half a mile from. You live 1 street and half a mile from the Kingdom Hall. You used to go to the Kingdom Hall in the 70s as a boy. In the 80s, in the 90s, in the year 2000s, you were there. If you were to go into that Kingdom Hall, you were an elder, and you've been there for 40 years, 4 generations, for 40 years. Would you recognize anybody?
Yeah, probably some of the old timers, but none of the new.
That would be like about 10, 20%. Mm-hmm. Think about that. And anybody that watches this video can go to any Kingdom Hall, the last Kingdom Hall that you went to, and you'll be lucky if you can count the amount of Jehovah's Witnesses you know in your hand. And Jehovah's Witnesses are very migrant. They move all over the place but also where are all of these people coming from?
Now it's interesting. I heard
Mhm.
two things from an ex Jehovah's Witness today that we were talking about this subject. Two things.
Mhm.
I don't have no evidence of it. Just second word of mouth. Just word of
Mhm.
mouth, okay? That in Mexico, they're closing Kingdom Halls and selling them like in the United States.
Mhm.
And number two, that has nothing to do with Jehovah's Witnesses, but a lot of mayors and a lot of towns are praying for Donald Trump to win because they know they're going through havoc too.
Mhm.
Everybody's going through a lot of havoc right now with the replacement migration. It's hurting a lot of countries in many ways.
Mhm. Now, Jesse, uh, my theory is that Watchtower has to get to letter Z from A to Z,
And so this
but
immigration, it's like a 0.5. It's not going to be one of your big letters that you're like at the beard. The beard was
yeah.
huge. This
Mhm.
is going to be a stealth move
Mhm.
that maybe just the elders and the secretaries and the Kobe's are going to know about
Mhm.
it.
Correct. But my whole thing, and I'll tell you what the letter Z is, but Watchtower has to get in line with letter Z with the New World. And in this process, the letter Z is Watchtower is almost there. They've adopted climate change, they've adopted Paradise Earth, right?
Misinformation, disinformation. They talk just like if it was
Mhm.
MSNBC JW. Mhm.
Mhm. So guess what other changes Watchtower's going to have to make? It's going to have to make their change on homosexuality and transgenderism. And they can't make that jump right now. They're not in that position. It's too big of a jump to get to this is where they want to be. They want to be in their favor. It says it right. This is not my Bible. It's to quote J.W. Fairytale before he became a Christian. Uh, we didn't invent it because we didn't write this stuff. I did not write this on the Bible. Watchtower did. Jesus says, where your heart, where your treasure is, so is your heart. This is where Watchtower's treasure is at. The New World Translation. Another thing, uh, remember you were talking about how in Jehovah's Witnesses taught us that in the new system, in the Paradise Earth, we will still be studying the Bible. We'll have Bible students.
Yeah. Now my theory is this.
Mhm.
My theory is that we're in the new system
Oh, right now.
right now. And we already went through Armageddon. Armageddon was Armageddon.
Arm.
They got it.
Mhm.
Now, the illegal immigrants cannot be forced to get the Armageddon.
Mm-mm.
They're exempt. I've seen it with my own eyes. With my own eyes, I've seen it. They go to a special place to get their jabby
Mhm.
yabby when they want it.
They
They
don't, they
don't
don't
go
go to
where
Wal-
white people go. They don't go where black people go. They don't go to Walgreens.
Mhm. You sent that illegal alien to Walgreens, right? And he said no. He was under orders to go to a different place.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I told him, go to Walgreens right up the street. No, he goes, there's a doctor around here. Do you know him? I go, dude, I don't know none of that shit.
The
And I
the
told him,
question was, but the question was about the Bible studies. Remember we were talking about that, how they were going to have Bible studies. Watchtower told us, yeah.
in the new world, see, what we
Never
have
read it
is we have fascism. It's when the
yet. Mhm.
government, under fascism, the government is in collusion with the corporations. But what we're seeing here, it's with corporations, but also another kind of group, the
Mhm.
advent of the NGOs. So right here we have like a spiritual fascism.
Mhm.
You know how a lot of our friends yell separation of church and state? This is some
Mhm.
scary shit. A lot of the churches are involved knee deep with the state in bringing over the immigrants.
Mhm.
So some of them will study their religion with them.
Mhm.
And you see it in alternative media. They're claiming to be Christians. They're claiming to be Christians. So you already have a morphed view of Christianity when you have people helping people come into a country illegally. So what's going to happen? The Jehovah's Witnesses with a lot of these immigrants that come into their congregation. They're going to start new studies. They are going to be the servants, the working class of the New World Order. They're getting rid of the blacks. They're getting rid of the whites. They're getting rid of the second or third generation Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, and they're bringing in the new world. They're bringing in the third world servants. They will be the
Correct.
working.
And they will be
Now,
the
here's
henchmen.
the thing. They also, they never had to sacrifice. They never had to work hard. They're getting everything on the come. I call them like the Barack Obama class. You know how when Barack Obama became president, they gave him the Nobel Peace Prize?
You're right away.
Right away, on the come. He won it on the come. Same thing with this Americans. Remember the Americans in the Pilgrim days? Or the Americans down that were coming in from Spain, from Florida, or through Mexico, or through the Mayflower, or from the California, the Russian side, or the Japanese and the Chinese. All of them had to sacrifice. They had wars. They had a country to build. They had skin in the game. Where these immigrants, they get everything for free. So they're going to be dependent on the state. So let's say they become a member of the organization like NGO, like Jehovah's Witnesses. Everything they have is from Jehovah. They're not going to care if you were like a Jehovah's Witness for 50 years, 60 years. If they have to whack you, they're going to whack you. Because their allegiance is going to be to the Watchtower. That's where they get all their power. And that's what the great point is on the political side. If they come here, all of their allegiance is going to be to Joe Biden. On the political side, on the Democrat side. That's what a lot of people are saying. These immigrants are all going to vote for Democrats because they see that they get everything for free. Same thing on the political. If they happen to fall in the Jehovah's Witness, everything is going to be. If they go to Catholic charities will run them. If they go to Lutheran charities will run them. But we're only concerned about the Jehovah's Witnesses. That's all we know about. If they land in a kingdom hall, more than likely, and they're given privileges, they're going to abuse their power because they never had to work for anything. They're going to get their privileges on the come.
Correct. And just real quick, I'm going to bring up that piano incident in the Avenue A hall. There was a piano in the Avenue A hall, and the circuit overseer tripped and he almost hit himself. And he tried to get rid of it, and you put up a fight for it, and the piano stayed. Then a couple years later, they tried to sell the Avenue A Kingdom Hall. You put up a fight for it. They didn't sell the Avenue A Kingdom Hall. And then Watchtower says, well, let's do this in Menlo Park. And a group of elders, did what you did. And millions of, a lot of other elders. They put up a fight. And now it's in the courts. So when they're being replaced with all of these people, this is why Watchtower needs to change its policy. Because once you start having all of these new elders that you put in, and he has a special check mark, like a color. Pink, you know how they have the green and the red when they check you for elder on the letter? They'll have a pink one, pink check. It means we got one of these guys. He's pink. He's our bitch. And this guy will sell the Kingdom Hall. He don't care what Menlo Park. He has no idea what Menlo Park is. He doesn't want to know. He has orders. And this is the future of Jehovah's Witness religion, is getting rid of all of you guys that have a little bit of manhood and replacing it with people who are 100% loyal to Watchtower. Go ahead.
And here's the thing. Our white brothers and our black brothers, they have to have, there is no white and there is no black. Ronald Reagan says there is no right and there is no left. There's only up and down. Either you elevate people or you bring down people. And what we're seeing with the migration in the Jehovah's Witness, like we're seeing the replacement, it's a downgrade of people. You're making them subservient.
Yes.
You're making them subservient. Where other times when you had to grow from a child in the congregation and you knew the sweat that went up into putting walls, you fight. If you're in the United States, for example, and your father died in a war, or your brother died in, or your uncle, well, you love your country. There's skin in the game, or you served in the country. There's skin in the game. Here, there's not. Like you mentioned Menlo Park. Let's say you get illegal aliens that are elders. When I was serving in Yuma, and they wanted to sell the Kingdom Hall, that so many of us had gotten married in, so many of us had been raised in there. I said, no, I remember when we were debating it, I was one of the only ones talking. Jeff Rosales was talking, Mark, and none of the elders in the Spanish would speak. And I remember Jeff Rosales got up and goes, "Guys, say something," because they're a bunch of yes men. They can't even speak the language. Do you think they even know what the First Amendment is? They probably think the First Amendment is a bar. You tell them, "Hey, do you guys remember the First Amendment? Were we there at the elder meeting? After the elder meeting?" No, dude, that wasn't the First Amendment. That was the Tony Morris Tabernacle. That was something different. These people don't know anything. They don't know anything about this country, and they're going to be held in our church. They're going to be given the reins of power. It's a recipe for disaster. But here's the point. Once again, and I said it, there's no black and there's no white. There's no Puerto Rican, there's no Mexican. We're all being replaced. So if we have any differences and then they pit us against racism and diversity and all this shit, no, dude. We're all the same. We're all apostates, or we're all Jehovah's Witnesses. We're all being replaced equally. You just think that there's divisions. There's divisions in prison, but out here in the free world, that's not the way it works. They use division like they do in prisons out here to divide us, divide and conquer us. But united we stand, divided we fall. The Jehovah's Witnesses have chosen to do away with that, and they're going along with this global new world order.
So this is from the abundance of the heart. Jesse, or hold on, it's my guys. This is not Jesse. It's Dan's replacemento.
Replacemento. I'm replacing it.
So Dan, my brother Dan, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Watchtower has on every cover of the magazine announcing Jehovah's kingdom. From the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. What is Jehovah's kingdom?
Look, we have what is called an experiment in self-government. We, the American people, not saying it's the perfect thing, it's not. We committed a lot of original sin. Abraham Lincoln talked about the original sin, racism, slavery. Yes, we're imperfect. But it's the best hope we have for mankind that lifted us from serfdom into a voice. Jesus Christ is the word. We have a word too in this United States because we have this experiment. We are that shiny city on the hill. We are the place where people have a voice. And we must silence that voice. They must silence that voice. In the Kingdom Hall, that voice is too powerful. They want to eliminate it by bringing in these immigrants that don't know anything. They're going to surround themselves with yes men. Yes, sir, may I have another? They're going to go Kevin Bacon on Animal House. Yes, sir, may I have another? Bend over and grab the ankles. Assume the position. That's what those elders are going to do. They're not going to stand up for any brother. They're not going to stand up for any child. They're going to follow orders, hook, line, and sinker. They're going to become little Nazis.
So what is Jehovah's kingdom?
Serfdom. Slavery. It's a return to serfdom. It's the abandonment of the experiment in self-government. It's the abandonment of the human condition as we know it. It's it is regressive. It is not progressive in any sense of the word. It is not progressive in any sense of the word. It is regressive into serfdom.
So it's going backwards, right? We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. That our rights come from God. Jehovah's kingdom is alive and well in the Jehovah today. We passed, like you said, Armageddon, and what is it? It's to put every human being under serfdom, under the control of a kingdom
of bondage. Now, look at Jane Miller's comment.
With this one?
You know what? I don't know. this is good that we're talking about this because we were in the Mexican congregation, Spanish congregation. So to us, it was commonplace. It was commonplace. Let me tell you a story. We were at the 4th Avenue. We had the Post, the circuit convention. And this guy wanted to have privilege, and we're going to park cars. I was parking cars. And I had my crew parking cars. And I used this one kid from another congregation. I didn't know he was illegal alien. I didn't know because you don't talk about it. But all the illegals know who's an illegal. He was from another congregation, and they were using him as a servant at the city overseer's congregation. So I assumed if he's a servant, so I put him in my crew parking cars. And this one brother who's zealous on field service, you know him, Josue.
Yeah.
With one eye. He came to my house one night, drunk as a skunk, smelling of gin, knocked on my door. And when a Mexican smells like gin, holy shit, that's bad. Because normally it's tequila, right? Or beer.
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes, and he was mad. He wanted to kick my ass because I was using this guy who was illegal. Gilbert, I felt like human trash. I felt, you know what? I wanted to kick my own ass. I wanted to join Josue in kicking my ass. I begged for his forgiveness. I didn't know. But I could see the pain in his face because he saw that I was using favoritism. This destroys people in so many ways that you can't tell it because Jesus says to do the things of Caesar to Caesar, the things of God to God, give the things to Caesar to Caesar. This is clearly something that's going to break up the congregations because it's illegal immigration. It's breaking the law. So you have to make new law. Many people call it the color of law, which is a false form of law. For example, they create this new category of immigrant called asylum seekers. And so Watchtower might embrace that. But the Jehovah's Witness, who's a true Christian, is going to say, wait. We're a nation of laws. This is not a law. This is a dictate from an executive branch. But in the United States, we don't do that. We have a legislative body which makes laws, and the executive branch enforces law. But our executive branch is choosing not to enforce law. I mean, it's a mess.
Yes.
It's a mess.
I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. People say, "But that's stupid that you said breaking Watchtower changes immigration policy." Hold on. Chicago did it. Illinois did it. California's doing it. There's a lot of states that are letting people, illegal aliens, become police officers. You can vote in certain states. So if Illinois is doing this, if California is doing this, New York, what makes you think Watchtower is not going to jump on this bandwagon?
And all I'm asking for my white apostate brothers, I'm begging them, do the math. We don't have empirical evidence. All we have is circumstantial evidence, what we see with our eyes. But we do see the numbers. You can see the numbers. I think the Jehovah's Witnesses were at 1% growth or 0.5%, but they were in the positive. They weren't at a decline. But yet, if you look at all the social media posts and you look at all the Jehovah's Witnesses, they say Jehovah's Witnesses are leaving in droves. I'm asking you, brothers, I know you guys are politically ignorant. I understand that. The Jehovah made us politically ignorant. But this is a political move going on. You're being replaced. Watchtower is not going nowhere. Watchtower is not going. If anything, they might grow in the United States. And people say, well, in the world, I don't give a shit about the world. I'm an American. The rest of the world can go to hell. I don't care. I'm like Tommy Lee Jones in that movie that you like. I don't care. What I'm saying, in the United States, the only country that counts, even the goddamn Russians are watching us. Even the Chinese are watching us. You know, if we lose freedom here, there is nowhere else left to run. You think the Canadians are going to save your sorry ass? So the only country in the world that counts is our country. We have to get it right here. That's it. Now, we can go fix other countries afterwards, but we have to fix our house first. And what I'm saying is, yeah, the Watchtower is playing with the immigration numbers.
No. Just we're gonna end it right here. But just kind of like a lot of people will get upset with you because we're number one, uh, and they don't understand what we're trying to say about the United States being number one and how.
Gilbert, go back to that Jane Miller question. Print it up.
Let's see which one. Do you brothers feel that back in the day the JW kind of danced around the laws?
Okay, now is this a man or a woman asking this question?
Jane.
Okay, I don't mean to be mean or misogynistic, but let me just get it out in the open. The reason I'm able to talk about that is because men are elders and sisters did not serve, so they don't know. There's a lot of politics. The reason Jehovah's Witnesses don't get involved in politics is because there's a lot of church politics. So let's say there's a criminal brother in a neighboring congregation. He can break the law, but he's more powerful than you. So you have to get with the circuit overseer to start a case against that brother who gave privileges to an illegal alien. But if for some reason he's buddy with that circuit overseer, you might find yourself removed for something. It's all politics. The whole Jehovah's Witness religion is a bunch of politics when it comes to the elders. So no, the Watchtower did have a stand that you don't use illegal aliens. You don't. That's not Watchtower's in the past. It was not. But some brothers broke it. But for you to prove it, you have to move heaven and earth to prove it.
Yeah. So no, Watchtower did not dance around the laws. They've always been to the letter of the law on that. And those were isolated incidents, is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But and I'm glad. I think she's going to remember that about church politics.
Yeah, there's a lot of church politics.
Okay, so like I said, I hope, I hope I'm wrong. I hope everything I said was wrong. I hope this breaking news, but Watchtower has to change in order for them. They have to change their policy in order to be right with the new world, because they've already told us who they're in bed with, and this is the treasure that Jesus talked about. Where your treasure is, there so is your heart. So Watchtower is going to have to make those changes, and they're eventually going to have to make the religion to letter Z. They're going to have to somehow not embrace, but allow homosexuality and transgender. And I'm thinking it'll be more like the Bill Clinton "don't ask, don't tell" policy. That it's none of our business. Don't even talk about it. It's just leave people alone.
Gilbert, do you remember the passage in the Bible says, "Time and unforeseen circumstance befall us all"? And look at a Jehovah's Witness right now, how they speak. Go to a congregation. And then look at William Malafont, how he speaks. Where do you see the difference? Besides age, let's say there's 80 years difference. Okay, let's say 70 years difference between a teenager and William Malafont. Besides the 70 years difference in age, what else do you see?
When the wicked sprout like weeds, and all the wrongdoers flourish, it is that they may be annihilated forever. And to that we say, Amen.
So be it.
Okay. You get a 17 or 18-year-old Jehovah's Witness. Now, I'm not talking about the message. I'm just talking about the masculine tone. He's an alpha male. That dude's an alpha male. Jehovah's Witnesses are not known in the world right now for being alphas. They're all metrosexual men. They're like a congregation of Gavin Newsom's or Justin Trudeau or Macron of France. But they're all pretty boys. Look at the two new governing body members.
They're not like this guy.
They're not like this guy. This guy's a dying breed. He's the end of it. He's the end. Once William Malafont is gone, you're not going to get guys like that anymore. And look at Tony Morris. He was kind of like that too. He out tough and everything. When you get the other ones, they're halfway to the Z that you're talking about. They're all pretty boys. They wear tight pants. They're all prettier than their wives. Even in the cartoons, they depict the men prettier than their wives and girlfriends.
Yeah.
No wonder they have a masturbation problem. They're so good looking. They fall in love with themselves. They're like, what's that guy, narcissism or that he reached into the water.
So you're saying that when my theory when I started out was that we were on letter D, E, F. You're saying no, Gilbert. We're closer to the letter Z than you think.
No. I think we're in the H.
We won't give in, Jehovah sovereign.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, put it on.
Go ahead. I did the wrong one.
I stand corrected.
Huh?
You know, I stand corrected. I forgot about that.
God's servants all rejoice. We praise Jehovah with a cheerful voice. Whatever comes our way, we fear no harm. We will get through. We have God's mighty arm. We won't give up, and no, we won't give in. Jehovah's on our side. This is a race. We'll win. We'll weather storms. Jehovah's strength will know. Of his right hand, of his mighty arm, we'll never let go.
So yeah, the metrosexual thing is
But it's contagious because look at that guitar player. The guitar player is a professional. The guitar player there could play anything. I bet you could play rock and roll, jazz. He's a great guitar player. But it's contagious. You know how you say liberalism is contagious? So is metrosexuality. It's like they're being forced to be less men. They can easily have done that at the UN.
this could have been a song in the UN.
That could have been a song at the UN.
And no, this is mighty.
That's a United Nations propaganda video.
That's the United Nations. What?
Propaganda video.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not a church video. That's
No,
a United
that's United, and it's like she says, the gayness is killing me. That's the ultimate. That's the letter Z that Watchtower needs to get to, and then it'll be complete. They'll be 100% a true organization.
And we're close because I've been attacked by other apostates because I'm not a pro LGBT. So we're just around the corner. Like Bruce Springsteen said, just around the corner to the light of day.
So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm wrong. I feel like I'm wrong on this issue, and I don't want to be right, but I really do believe Watchtower is going to start changing it.
I think the immigration. You're on the no, the Willem Malafons have to be gone first.
Okay.
And that's probably why they got rid of Toni Morris. A lot of people have speculated that he was too alpha.
Yeah.
They need a little, they need a little bit more like beta, like Stephen Lett.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, it's up. This is anybody's guess. So that's it. It's time.
Just to recap what your prediction is. It's a silent prediction. It's not a powerful prediction that's going to be making an elder letter. We believe it's going to be a behind the scenes embracing or the giving of privileges to non-citizens of the country, which is something we don't do right now. They don't do.
No.
Yeah.
That's it, guys. And
yourselves and remember, everybody loves somebody, and I love you all very, very much. Good night and God bless you.
yeah, we got to get rid of people like that guy too. Yeah. All right, guys. See you later. Tell me I'm wrong, please.